Welcome, Blue Jackets fans, to another edition of Where Are They Now, presented by Huntington Bank. A look back at some of the most memorable names and faces that have worn the Blue Jackets jersey over the first 2 decades of Columbus hockey. And certainly the player we have today needs very little introduction. He's 8th all-time in games played in the Union Blue sweater, first in penalty minutes, even beating out Jody Shelley. And he's still in town. He's the assistant development coach and team ambassador for the Blue Jackets. Of course, it is Jared Boll. Jared, thanks for joining us on Where Are They Now?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, and we usually at some point in this interview, I have to ask where somebody is because the guys I've interviewed so far have been all across not just the country but the world. But you're an easy one since you're working for the team. You're here in Columbus still. Your playing career ended in 2018. You were with the Blue Jackets through 2016. Very quickly got into coaching. I guess we'll start off by asking just what has that experience been like, and just kind of dipping your toes into the coaching pool. And have you enjoyed it? And then what's kind of those experiences been like for you as you've gotten going here with your coaching career?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's a scary time when you know your playing time's coming to an end and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next. So I hear a lot of stories from older guys and kind of listen to them and learn from them a little bit. And I knew that as soon as I was done playing, I didn't want to take any time off. And I was fortunate enough to land in a great spot and be given a great opportunity by Yarmo, and at the time JD was here, and Torts and Lars and Shawzy and everyone on the staff kind of welcomed me in pretty easy. And it was, the first few months was a little tough, just being so quick from playing to coaching, having played with a bunch of the guys and being close buddies with them as a player, and then you're coaching. So it was a little learning process along the way, but I fell in pretty comfortable, and I had a really good relationship with Kenny McCutton from years ago when I was just a kid getting going. So he made it really easy for me to transition into coaching. And like I said, I was really fortunate to get the opportunity, because I know a lot of guys are looking for things to do right out of playing, and it's not easy. So I don't take a day for granted, and so far it's been awesome. I couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out so far. And some fans may not know, they hear the title assistant development coach. What exactly does that entail? Because we see you out there, at practices. You even got a chance to, I think, pretty much run a practice a couple weeks ago. We see you out there with the scratches. But for the fans, maybe what is your job description like now that you've joined the front office and the coaching staff here?
Yeah, for the most part this past year, I was around the team a lot just because it was such a crazy year with the taxi squad and having so many extra guys. It was just something that really hasn't been done before. So with all those extra guys and almost having 2 practices sometimes, I got to work a lot with the team and be around the guys for the most part, and around Kenny. He kind of led that, and I just kind of helped him out where I could. And it was really, really good for me to kind of learn on the fly in a situation that really no one was comfortable with. So that's what I did this year. And in the past, I've been up to Cleveland a few times, get to work with a lot of the younger guys. But this year was weird. I mean, we had a lot of the young guys here. It's just kind of a messed up year. But in terms of learning on the fly, it's been good. And I love the coaching side. And I love working with the younger players and players trying to find their way. And like I said, I did some good things as a player, but I also made a lot of mistakes, and I can help them any way I can on things that I did good and things I did bad, and just how to be a pro on and off the ice. It's not easy coming in as a young guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's always good to have someone who's kind of gone through that road and can kind of show the guys what to do. I wanted to ask as well, recently in the second to last game of the year, you got to be on the bench with the coaches, and, you spent so many years sitting on that bench with the guys behind you. Now you got to be one of the guys behind them. So what was that experience like for you to kind of dip your toe into that water?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I didn't say much. I didn't do much. It was really cool of Torts to bring me on, and he didn't have to do that, but to be able to stand next to him on the bench was pretty cool. And you just forget how fast it is. I catch myself watching games up top, and you say, make that play. Look, how does he not see that guy? And it's just I wish a fan could stand on the bench and see just how fast and skilled those guys are now. And big, and and it was just cool to get down to ice level and kind of get that adrenaline feeling again. It brought back good memories in the building. We had some fans in there, so it was it was really cool, and it was a cool experience. Something I'll never forget. Standing there on the bench for the first time.
Yeah. And you mentioned this was something you were hoping to do, maybe looking forward to doing once your playing career was over. Maybe how has it measured up to what you thought, or what maybe you like about the job that, that kind of keeps you going as you've started this, going down this road?
The biggest thing for me is just kind of hearing from other coaches. Shawzy had a good line for me, just saying, like, you can never stop learning. And no matter how old you get or no matter how long you're around the game, you learn something new every day, and how to be a pro and how to win. And it's a tough league to win in, and you got to be ready to go every day. And so that's been a really cool experience for me, and just learning different systems and just how they run stuff. As a player, you jump on the ice for practice and you're just you listen to the drill and you do it. Well, at least I did. I don't know if other guys paid attention, but it was almost like a robot. But as a coach, you kind of see how much time is put into the practice planning and why you're doing certain drills and what goes into each day. There's a ton of it that you don't realize as a player that I'm starting to see now. And it just makes me keep coming to the rink every day. I love coming to the rink. The old line of rink rat. I think that's me, because I love being around the room. I love being around the trainers, the players, the coaches. It's been a good transition for me, and I'm really lucky.
Yeah. And one thing that's kind of interesting about your career is, some guys get drafted by a team and they may not even ever play for that team, but you were lucky enough, you get drafted by the Blue Jackets, you play here for 9 seasons, you're able to come back and join the organization when it's all said and done. Is that something where maybe you almost count your blessings a little bit, that you've been able to kind of have that familiarity with one franchise for really pretty much most of your career?
Yeah. It's funny because growing up, I loved the Red Wings. My dad's from Detroit, so he kind of got me into hockey, and I just loved Detroit. And Yzerman was there, and I just remember as a kid him just being there forever, and the captain, and just being in the same organization his whole career. And I thought it was like the coolest thing, just to have that loyalty. And I get it, guys. It's their right to go to free agency and go where they want to go. But I just thought it was really cool to try to stick with the same franchise for as long as you can, and kind of, they gave you the opportunity. So, just keep going. And I fell a little short, but I loved my 2 years in Anaheim. That was awesome too. But it was really cool to be able to come back to the organization that initially, took a chance on me as a player, and to bring me back on the coaching side it's pretty cool, and, something I'm proud of.
And because that, has this kind of in some way started to feel like home? I believe your wife is from here. I'm sure you've got a lot of friends with the alumni organization that's in town and guys you played with. I don't know if you ever grown up expected yourself to become an Ohioan, but does this feel like kind of a good place to be in a city you enjoy being a part of?
Yeah, it's awesome. I definitely do call it home. Like you said, I met my wife here. We've had 2 kids here now, so it's just crazy from looking back 10 years ago to where it is now. Kind of all in Columbus. Have a ton of friends, outside the rink. It's great to spend time here in the summer with the golf, and yeah, I fell in love with Ohio. It's been a good fit for me. I grew up in the Midwest, so I call myself a Midwestern guy. So to be able to play here and end up living here after playing is pretty cool.
It is funny when I do these interviews, someone always mentions golf, whether it be me or the player, but the players, some of the former Blue Jackets players, there's fond memories of the great golf courses here in Columbus, I'm sure. And now you get to still play them. So you're kind of lucky in that regard. Yeah,
man, it's unbelievable. The golf here, like, not many people think of Ohio as a golf destination, but if there's some buddies and they said they're going to Ohio for a golf trip, you could, put together a pretty sweet lineup of courses here just in the Columbus area, not even outside. So it's a great spot to play or to live if you like golf.
Yeah. People always bring up golf, and they always bring up Jody Shelley, and he's a guy that you kind of followed in his footsteps a little bit. Certainly, I mean, in a lot of ways, probably maybe the most famous Blue Jacket, just from the time he played here, and then the stuff that he's doing now as a broadcaster. But I imagine he had to be a little bit of a mentor to you. I wanted to ask about teammates, but he's the guy that always seems to come up. But what were some of the guys you enjoyed playing with? And I'd have to imagine Jody, just from your relationship there, has to be somewhere in the front of the list, I'd have to guess.
Yeah, Jody's definitely on the top of the list. He was awesome. I just remember coming in as a young guy before I even made the team, and I was training here in the summer. And him just walking in, like he was coming in the gym too. I think he was at a different time slot, but you just come in, you're so intimidated by these guys. You're not, you're coming out straight out of junior. I was a scrawny kid that kind of thought I was kind of tough, but I probably wasn't. And to see these guys come in the room and you're kind of almost in awe at first. And I just remember him being one of the first guys I met. But he kind of brought me in and he showed me around, and he's been awesome to me throughout my whole career. Even towards the end, bouncing a lot of stuff off of him. It was tough to deal with at the time, and he was a guy that kind of went through it and understood how hard it is, and he was a great guy to talk to. But man, I played with a bunch of guys. I was trying to think before I came on here because I didn't want to leave anyone out, but we had a great group of young guys coming up. Nasher was already here. He was kind of already established and an all-star, I guess. But kind of in my draft class, it was like Chris Russell, Derek Dorsett, and then younger guys, Jake Voracek, Derek Brassard, Mark Mathot. We just had a whole crew. We all lived downtown, and we were kind of learning the ropes as we went together. And it was sometimes maybe a little too much fun, but it was a great group of guys. I hope I'm not leaving anyone out, but we had a lot of fun kind of learning how to become a pro and starting our career.
When you think about it, you were here for 9 years, and you say you don't want to leave anybody out, but that means you played with a heck of a lot of guys here. But it also means you ended up playing. I think you're one of the few guys that played in both the first ever playoff series here and then the second playoff series. And obviously, there's probably more years between those two than you would have hoped. But just asking about memories of your career and your time here, I'd have to imagine you'd maybe start there with actually bringing playoff hockey to Columbus, and then anything else that maybe stands out about your playing career here with the Blue Jacket sweater.
Main thing that stands out to me, and I still see it, it's even grown, is the fan base they were awesome. And we weren't winning a ton of games early on when I was here. And I just remember the fans have always been awesome and supportive and can they get frustrated? Probably, but if that's what you want out of your fan base is to really care and want to win. But the first playoff series was great. I think we clinched. I think Nasher scored. I saw it on the highlights all the time during the games. I think Nasher scored to tie it maybe, and Toots might have won it in a shootout. And Toots, I forgot about Toots is awesome. I could go on a list. There's a ton of guys that have been awesome. But yeah, and it was just such a cool thing. And we played the Red Wings that first round, and they were pretty stacked. I don't know if they won it that year or went to the finals, but they were pretty good. And it was just cool to experience playoff for the first time for me as a player and for Columbus as a franchise.
Yeah. And you've also kind of been able to see some of the successes that's grown here and be part of, really establishing this as a winning franchise over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been kind of fun to just kind of see, the fans waited for so long to kind of see, the first playoff series win, things like that. And I imagine as former players, you probably were in the same boat. So it's been kind of cool to see the success that's been had, over the last 4 to 5 years under the staff with some of the guys you worked with.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, to go back to, I think the first playoff win was Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. It was that when Doobie tied it up, I think. Joey threw it out from behind the net and Doobie tied it up, and then Fliggy won it in overtime. So yeah, that was awesome. I remember the fans going crazy. And yeah, it's been cool to, not as a player, but on the coaching staff, to be a part of some cool wins here. My first year back actually coaching and trying to figure it out was the year we beat Tampa and then lost to Boston. But that Tampa series, I mean, they talk about it all the time. And I know it was only, everyone said, well, you just won the first round, but just the way we did it was pretty cool. And the guys, man, I was sitting at home watching the first 2 games when they were in Tampa. And I just remember that comeback was awesome. And then the building for game 4 at home was crazy. It was, you could feel the noise in there. So those were pretty special moments, and hopefully we can just keep building on, man. It's a great place to play, And I really want to be a part of some cool things and a lot of winning to come.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Boll, it's great to still have you around. It was great to kind of catch up here over the last 10, 15 minutes. Thank you for joining Where Are They Now, presented by Huntington Bank.
Awesome, Jeff. Thanks for having me, man.